everyone, as you can tell by the title, this is going to be a more personal vlog. I will be doing a couple videos hopefully soon about some Sephora and Birchbox stuff and possibly a giveaway. I have a bunch of stuff that I've kind of put together that I've been meaning to do, so stay tuned for that if this isn't up your alley. But as you can tell from the title, we just found out that I have PCOS about a month ago. So for those of you who didn't watch my other video, we did have a miscarriage last year. It was our first pregnancy, and we hadn't really been trying, but we hadn't not been trying. So this is going to be some like rambling explanation of kind of where we've been and where we're headed. The miscarriage was in July last year. It lasted all the way through till September. It didn't go away. It happened in public, which was awful, and we had to go to the ER, and then things just kept continuing. So finally in September we had to have a surgery to end everything and get rid of everything that wasn't coming out on its own. So flash forward, I'm not regular. I knew that already. I had suspected I had PCOS. I'm kind of angry because back in, I think, May or April last year, a year ago, we had asked our doctor to run a bunch of hormone tests, and it was this huge bill, and we had to argue with the insurance company for quite a while to pay it, and we finally got them to pay it. It was like a $20 copay, but they did a panel of blood work and told me that everything looked fine. And we got pregnant a month or two later on our own, naturally, and since then, after the whole miscarriage thing, my new doctor who performed the surgery, who I like a lot better, she's actually a woman and she's had miscarriages and she started having her children later in life, so I felt kind of more in tune with her. But she had me take Provera, which helps you have a period. So mine are normally every 2 to 3 months, and from the age of 12 to 19 they were every 2 to 3 months. They were all over the place, never on a regular basis. And then I went on birth control from 19 to like almost 30, I think 29. So 10 years I was on birth control and didn't really know that anything was seriously wrong. And then that was part of why we were concerned I might not get pregnant. So we had the doctor do all those tests. So anyhow, the new doctor said, well, we'll have you do Provera. So I did that for 2 months. I came off the Provera and started doing my temperature. And for those of you who are new to trying to conceive, there's like usually 3 main ways to tell if you're ovulating. Some women claim, oh, I feel it. I feel when I'm ovulating. I'm not one of those people. But you can take your temperature every day, and there's supposed to be a pattern of where you're normally at. And then there's usually a spike when you ovulate, and it stays elevated for a few days. And then your temperature is usually lower when you're on your period. So you can take your temperature every morning when you wake up at the same time before you get out of bed. And then you can also use ovulation predictor kits, which are these little strips that you pee on or dip in pee, and that'll tell you if you're ovulating or not. Usually it's an LH surge that lasts 1 or 2 days. And then the other way is to test your egg white cervical mucus, so you know, your stuff down there, which is a little weird for me, but that's still not regular, and I've been having trouble with all of those things. So we came off the Provera in November, I think, at the end of November, and December was the first month to kind of see, is my body ovulating, what's going on, let's hope the Provera maybe jump-started me. And I thought in December that I ovulated. I got a positive test, and then my period actually came on its own within 30 days, so like it was like a normal woman cycle, and I was super excited. But then January and February went by and nothing happened. And so I went into the doctor in February because I was having a really long period, and she did some blood work and did some tests, and then she had them do an ultrasound, and they found cysts all over my ovaries. And I thought I had PCOS because I have a hard time losing weight. I don't really eat that high calorie of a diet, but I've been steadily gaining since high school. And it's really hard for me to lose weight even when I'm really dieting and exercising. But one ovary is really cystic, and the other one is kind of like has a ring of cysts around it. So chances are that I'm only ovulating a few times a year. If I'm only having 4 to 6 periods, I'm probably only ovulating 3 or 4 times a year, if that. I'm still concerned that my temperatures are low every morning, so my normal temperature is like 96.5. 96.5, 96.7. So that's a little concerning. I'm not sure if there's something going on with my thyroid or not. I had that checked a few years ago. They told me that was normal. So when we found out we had the PCOS, the doctor said, okay, well, now we're definitely going to try Clomid. And she also put me on metformin, which helps with your insulin. So metformin is used for people with diabetes. It's also used for people with PCOS. And there's new studies that suggest that metformin actually helps with cancer, to not only prevent it, but also to minimize cancer growth, and for people who are in remission, to keep it at bay. So I'm not sure if that's an added benefit or not. But I started the metformin. They start you with 3 doses. So I started with 500 milligrams, or 500 milligrams, I think, for a week, then 2 pills a day, so 1,000 milligrams, and then on the 3rd week you take 3 pills a day. So that's where I'm at now. That's been a couple weeks now. But I messed up with the Clomid. They didn't explain it to me well enough. They said, oh, when you take your Provera and give yourself a period and, you're going through that, give us a call and we'll call in the Clomid for you. And I don't know that much about it, and I don't know enough to know when you start counting your cycle days and all that, because this is all new to me. So I called them on day 7, and they said, oh, you should have called us last week, because you don't start on day 5 after your period, you start on day 5 of your period. So this might be all craziness to some of you who don't have kids, or aren't trying, but for some of you, maybe you know what I'm talking about, or you can give me some help. I really was confused as to why they still couldn't give me the Clomid on day 7. I know most women take it like day, I think 3 to 7. Some women take it 2 to 6, but usually most doctors will prescribe it for day 5 to 9. Well, I thought, if I take it day 7 to day 11, like, what's the big deal? Because I don't usually ovulate on my own anyway, so why would it hurt to start it a few days later when normally I have these 2 to 3 month long cycles? Now, I'm guessing that when the Clomid makes you ovulate, or hopefully makes you ovulate, your period will come, on the 30-day mark. But I still don't get why it would have been a big deal to start it 2 days later. Anyway, I was crying yesterday. I was very upset, and my husband didn't know what to do. And I think with this whole thing, like, I'm the one looking up stuff on forums and talking to people and watching videos, and he's kind of just like, oh, okay, you went to the doctor, what did they say? And he's kind of like, keeps telling me not to stress, don't focus on it, don't think about it. And he's not really like, oh, it'll happen when it happens, but he's very nonchalant about it and gets kind of frustrated with me for focusing so much. And I'm like, well, we're already challenged. It's been almost a year. We found out, I was pregnant in June for sure, probably the end of May. So it's almost been a year, and we haven't really had a good shot at getting pregnant again. And so for 10 months now, we've been just in limbo, like disappointment and waiting and trying to figure out what's going on. And I don't know, it's just frustrating. I'm 32, so I feel like there goes a year. There goes a year where we could have been trying again in September or October if our doctors had been more knowledgeable. So I almost felt like calling up the last doctor I had and, like, not suing, but now we have another $200 copay for our new blood work, and I'm like, that's a lot of money to have to shell out of pocket, $200 for blood work, and we had a $700 bill from the surgery. So I feel like these doctors who give you limited information and don't explain things and don't really do a thorough job end up costing you time and emotions, and it just doesn't seem fair that there's no repercussion for that. So anyhow, that's where we're at. So I'm waiting a couple weeks to take Provera. I'm going to see if I ovulate on my own. But I'm frustrated with my temperature. I'm frustrated with checking my signs for ovulation. And I guess we'll start Clomid next month. But in the meantime, it sucks to wait. So if any of you have been here before, or, it's not that my husband's not supportive. I want him to say certain things, and he doesn't say that. He goes off on these rambling, like, 15-minute tirades about how, well, what if our baby has problems, and how are you going to put up with that if you're already crying because, we have to wait a month. And, there's days I come home and he makes me a bubble bath and offers to give me foot rubs, but as far as the pregnancy goes, like, I don't know, I wish I could give him a script of things to say. Mostly I just want him to listen, and I keep telling him that, and he thinks he's helping, but I don't know, he wants to put a time frame on it. Like, oh, well, we should try for 2 years and then we should stop, or we should know how long we're going to be willing to put ourselves through this, and we're just now starting. I mean, realistically, we haven't really even started. So I'm just really frustrated. It's very stressful. I wish I had a once-a-month shot like other women that, you know, it would probably be a 3 or 4 month period of trying if I had a normal cycle and ovulated on my own. So I'm not sure if we're going to need supplements once we start, like progesterone, to keep the pregnancy viable. I know that I'll probably stay on the metformin, and I've been looking at like green tea and red raspberry leaf tea. Some people recommend Robitussin for your cervical mucus. My camera keeps dying and running out of memory, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, so evening primrose, I think, I'm not exactly sure what that helps with, but I've been reading different things about supplements. There's some conflicting things I've seen, just because if you are taking certain things, you're not supposed to take soy, but if you're not taking other things, then you can. And so I'm still kind of learning. I think that the teas are safe. The Robitussin is safe. We're going to try, I think, using pre-seed just as a extra boost. I know some women swear by it. It's a sperm-friendly lubricant. I don't think it necessarily gets you pregnant, but it helps the guys get to where they need to go, so it can't really hurt. I think that's about it for now. And then I'll continue with the metformin. For those of you who maybe have experience with Clomid, does it regulate your period, or do you still need Provera, or how does that work? I know that with Clomid, they don't want you on it too long. I want to say it's like a 6-month thing, or 6 to 8 months or something like that, because if you're on it too long, then it increases your risk for cervical cancer. Yay. So it's just, you know, it's kind of this cluster flirk of stuff. Reminds me of those depressant commercials, antidepressants, you know, and they tell you, oh, side effects may be blah, 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 and then the pill for that gives you depression or something, you know, that it's like this circle jerk of prescriptions. So I guess we'll try the Clomid for a few months. I've seen a couple other videos that talk about using some sort of trigger shot. So if your body's still not ovulating with the Clomid, they can give you a shot to help release the eggs. And then I guess there's also in utero insemination, which instead of IVF, they just take the sperm and get it up to where it needs to be rather than relying on the man to do it. I don't know. I'm not sure what journey or path we'll be headed down. I'm hoping that the Clomid really works well, or Femera, I know that some people take as an alternative instead of Clomid. I hope it doesn't have to lead to other things down the road. I don't know how severe my case is. A lot of it has to do with timing, and we haven't had my husband tested for anything. I wish that things were normal, but if this is the cards we've been dealt, then, you know, I'm hoping that we educate ourselves to play the best hand that we can. So that is where that is. So I look forward to talking to some of you people who might be new, who are in the same predicament or have been through this, or maybe have friends who've gone through this that you can give me some advice. Yeah, I thought about doing a separate channel, but I don't know. I like keeping everything in one place just because that's who I am. I'm all these different things, and it makes sense to me to have it all in one place, but I might separate this off and split it into a different channel later on. I don't know yet. So I probably won't have a whole lot to say until we get ready to do the Clomid. There's a couple other videos I've seen people do that are kind of like tags, or, you know, responses to other issues surrounding fertility, but I don't know. If you're interested in any of that or have any other questions for me, I'm an open book. I'm more than happy to talk about it. So, yeah. So I'm going to go get ready for work. I'm going to try to maybe squeeze in another video or two on some makeup items. We'll see. So I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.